Hi, my dear Fundoo Class students. How are you? Welcome to the session. In this class, we are going to learn about future perfect tense. Wow, isn't it amazing? So, we have reached so far in our journey of tenses together. So, before we commence with the session, could I please request you to use the share button and invite all your friends for the class, right? Please use the share button so that your buddies, your friends can also join the session and get benefited from it. My name is Juhi Narula. I have 12 years of experience in training students for various competitive exams. I also happen to be a life skills coach and a content creator. I've done my bachelor's in technology and master's in business administration. Hi to everybody, those who have just joined. So good to have you. How are you doing? I hope you're fit and fine. You're taking good care of yourself. Welcome to the session. Here we are going to talk about future perfect tense. So we have already covered two tenses in this category. We have talked about simple future, we have talked about future continuous, and now we are going to talk about future perfect tense. Before we start with the discussion of future perfect tense, let's quickly revise what did we learn when we talked about simple future and future continuous. So I always make it a point that whenever I'm teaching a new tense in my class, in my session, I touch base on the things that we have already covered as far as tenses are concerned. This brings in, good energy, and this helps you relate better. So when we talk about simple future, I'm sure you must be remembering it. We did talk about that the formula is will plus verb first form, right? So how do we use future simple future tense for the actions that are going to begin and going to end in the future, right? So in the coming time, so that's where we talk about this term simple future, right? So I'm sure we are clear here. See, it's so simple, it did not even take one entire minute to revise simple future tense, right? So whenever we revise, how do we revise? We learn the formula again. So will plus verb first form, formula done. We do one sentence. I will go for the movie tomorrow, so sentence done. Third, we talk about the usage. So in a nutshell, we should know where do we use simple future when we talk about activities that are going to begin and that are going to end in the near future, in the coming time. Wow, sorted, isn't it? So the next category that we have already covered in the section of future tense is future continuous. So where do we use future continuous tense? You use future continuous tense for again an action that's going to happen in the future, but it's going to last for some time, right? So if I say I will arrive tomorrow, so you can't use I will be arriving tomorrow, right? Because that event of arriving is not going to stretch. So whatever activity that's going to stretch for a duration in the coming future, for that we use future continuous. So if I give you a sentence, I will be teaching future perfect tense tomorrow. So will be teaching, so the activity of teaching is going to stay, it's going to stay or stretch for some duration, and that's where we use our future continuous tense, right? So it's that simple. And what's the formula? Will plus be plus verb first form plus ing. So we've learned the formula, we have learned the example, we have discussed an example, and we know the usage, and bingo, our revision is done. Wow, isn't it so exciting? So I'll give you a minute. If you had missed any of these points, just pen it down wherever you are making your notes so that we are all sorted, and then we will discuss future perfect tense in the class, right? So quickly do it, and then let's begin with this another interesting discussion. Hi to everybody, those who have just joined. I received a very warm hi. So good to have you in the class. So I'm sure you have noted, and I'm sure we are all set to talk about future perfect tense. So let's begin with our discussion. So see, again, when we talk about future, so of course, as the name suggests that the action is going to happen in the future, right? But here, how is it different from simple future? You need to give some other point in future when the action is going to happen. tricky? No, it is not. Let's take an example to explain it to you in a better way. So there's this very interesting sentence on the screen that you can read. The parade will have ended by the time Chester gets out of the bed. So you can see that the action is going to complete in the future before some other point of time, right? So what is that other point of time? That Chester will get out of the bed, right? So can you see there are two things that are happening, two frames of time. So one, the action is going to happen and that action is going to be completed before some other point in the future, right? With that, the parade will have ended. What is that other time in the future? By the time Chester gets out of the bed. I'm sure it's clear now. See, that's the reason we always say that whenever we are learning the usage, always club it, combine it with an example so that everything is sorted and clear. Right, at 8 o'clock I will have left. So you have this time reference, right? So I'm sure both the examples are sorted and you're clear with the usage. It's time to make proper notes. So I'll give you one entire minute, write the entire usage, because at times it becomes tricky because students get messed up where to use simple future and where to use future perfect tense. So if there is no deadline of time given, then you can go for simple future. But if there is another time instance given where the action should be completed before some other point of time in the future, then you will definitely prefer future perfect tense. So you can differentiate, you can make two columns. Where do you use simple future, where do you use future perfect tense? Write the usage of future perfect tense and quickly write these examples also, and you can create your own examples as well, right? So quickly do it. I'll give you one entire minute to do the same. So I'm sure you have written and you are sorted. So it's time to further proceed with the discussion. So what is the formula? Like I always say, that formula is important, right? Because that's where you get clarity of time of the action, right? So what's the formula? You use will and have plus past participle, right? And the best and the interesting part is that here it is irrespective of the subject being singular or plural, the formula doesn't change. And where does the formula change? Does it change in past perfect? No, it doesn't change in past perfect also. Does it change in present perfect? Yes, it does. So let's quickly, since we have already talked about it, so I'll do one thing. I'll just write the formula here for present perfect and past perfect, so that all for all the three tenses you have the formula together and you can see where the difference lies. So when we talk about present perfect, the formula is has or have plus verb third form. So verb third form is another name for participle. So don't get worried here that what is participle, ma'am is using verb third form. Are these two different things? No. Okay. So where the twist lies in present perfect is that for singular you use has and for plural you use have. Okay, so this is something that you need to remember. But as far as past perfect is concerned, let me write that also for you. So on the same screen you have all the three formulas, right? So that's exciting. So let's write past perfect here. So past perfect would be had. So here also there is no change in the formula if your subject changes, right? So that would be had plus verb third form, Right. So future perfect formula is already there on the screen. Wow, bingo, here we are sorted. So whenever you're making the notes, write all the three together so that it's clear in your mind that how the three different formulas work for the perfect tense. For past perfect, for present perfect, and for future perfect. Right? Quickly do it. So I'm sure you're absorbing tenses now in an efficient way, in a better way. And the success is that your fear goes away. Right? So the moment you will be able to overcome that mental stigma, that fear that's associated with tenses, there you will just do so phenomenally well when it comes to grammar questions, right? So please take this advice seriously. That's the reason, keep revising. So you must have seen that wherever I get an opportunity to revise the previous stuff, I never miss that, right? So that's something that you should also do, that whenever you get time, whenever we are learning, we should always continue revising what we have previously done, right? That keeps us in the groove. So I'm sure we have noted it down. Time to proceed further. So this is very interesting. So what is this? When not to use the future perfect tense. Oh my God, there's a detailed elaboration on it. Right, so let's read it. Let's quickly give it a read together. What do you say, right? So we've never done this sort of a thing before, but you should always do some new things in the class. So let's read it and then we will explain it better. The future perfect tense is only for actions that will complete before a specific point in the future. So like we were discussing, that where do we use simple future and where do we use future perfect tense. So we were already talking about this, that when we talk about a simple future, it doesn't need to include a deadline. However, when we talk about future perfect tense, it definitely includes the deadline. So that's the reason students ask that, ma'am, how do we differentiate? If there is a clue where this particular situation is there, that the sentence is presenting a deadline, then go for future perfect tense. If the sentence is not offering a deadline, then there is no need to use future perfect. Then you can simply go for simple future tense, right? So let's say Linda will leave, then Linda will have left. So of course, Linda will leave is the case we're using simple future, and Linda will have left is where we are using future perfect, right? The deadline can be very specific. She'll leave at 8 o'clock or next week, right? It can also depend on something else, right? After the parade ends. It just needs to have some time in the future. So in between the two choices, definitely go for Linda will leave, right? But if the sentence is that she'll leave at 8 o'clock, then you can give that particular deadline. If the deadline is included, we definitely go for future perfect tense, right? So is this clear? Where do we use simple future and where do we use future perfect tense? So can I quickly have you thumbs up coming our way, right? So this was tricky, and if you've cracked it, bingo, that's amazing, right? Pen it down, otherwise you're going to forget, right? And remember that you're writing these little details, because not everybody knows these details. So you're taking advantage of attending the sessions, right? So quickly write this detail so that you're sorted, and maybe later you can flaunt and ask your other batchmates who have not attended the session that, boss, do you know this point, right? So quickly write it. It's good to share. Right, write some examples, right? Specify, be sure that you are including those little details, because the difference lies in those little details. If you're missing on those little details, you're not penning them down, then they'll just vanish, and that we wouldn't want. So it's time to move further. So how to make the future perfect negative, right? So that's very simple. We will not have eaten the breakfast before we get to the airport. So can you see there's a deadline, right? So it's easy. So you have to just insert not between will and have, and that's a trend you must have been observing, right? So let's read the sentences. they will not have finished decorating the float before the parade. So can you see there's a deadline before the parade? Can you see before we get to the airport tomorrow? It's a very strong clue that should be taken into consideration. So what happens is that students miss on these clues. But if you have this clue where the deadline is mentioned in the sentence, definitely we are going for future perfect, right? I hope I make sense to you. So there's another example. You can also use the contraction won't in the place of will not. So at times students ask us that, ma'am, where do we use won't? So that's a contraction of will not. Note it down, important. They won't have finished decorating the float before the parade. So we've included the example of this also. So quickly pen it down and then we'll proceed further. So I'm sure we are sorted here. Let's move to the next part. How to ask a question. So that's also, I'm sure you must have, always remembered and must have seen the trend. So the formula is you have will, then you have the subject, plus you have have, plus you have verb third form. Oh my God, this becomes so confusing. Let's see a sentence. Will you have eaten lunch already when we arrive? Will they have finished decorating the float before the parade? So we have learned all the three. A simple affirmative sentence. How do we make a negative sentence? And how do we ask a question? And I'm sure we are sorted. Quickly pen it down. Don't forget to write the example, right? Maybe the same example so that you're, able to create a picture in your mind, or different, however it works for you. So I'm sure you have noted time to go for a quick break. So take a 2 minutes break and join me back, and where we are going to discuss a very interesting drill on future perfect tense. So everybody take a 2 minutes quick break and join me back very soon. So we have some students who are joining us back. So let's wait for another 1 minute so that everybody is back. In case you are done with your break, you can quickly revise the concepts that we have covered so far, so that it is going to be really easy for you when we do the drill. So everybody do this thing, that take time for revision, and let's wait for everybody to join us back so that we can start the discussion. So it's time to do the drill. Welcome back, everybody. So the instructions are very simple. You are going to complete these sentences using future perfect tense. You already know the formula, and that's the best part. and also see that there are deadlines in these sentences which are apt to use the future perfect tense. So quickly take a minute. There are 5 sentences on the screen. Finish these sentences, complete these sentences using future perfect tense. Quickly start doing it and let the answers come. Wow, we have so many correct answers coming. That's really great. Kudos to you. So we can definitely do what? We can start with the discussion. What do you say? Right. So let's see. So we already know the formula, right? So what is the formula? Oh, just give me a minute. Yeah. So we know the formula. What is the formula? The formula is will plus have plus verb third form, right? So this is the formula we know. So we can now easily complete the sentences. By this time, I will have finished the project. So I'm sure you are able to see that the deadline is there. So the usage of future perfect is absolutely apt here, right? By 8 o'clock, so again there's a deadline, the kids will have fallen asleep, right? By tomorrow morning, he will have slept wonderfully, right? So he will have slept wonderfully, right? By next year, she will have received her promotion. Robin will have sold his car by next Sunday. So let's talk about the deadlines. I'll just underline so that you're able to retain it better. So you can see the deadlines very prominent, very clear, right? Easy to absorb. So I'm sure we are sorted with this set. Very good. Let's move to the next one. Quickly try solving it and then we'll discuss. So let's begin with the discussion. So see, Morgan will, okay, I hope this will is clear to you, will have cleaned the entire house by lunch. So again, we have the deadline. We will have danced a few dances before midnight. So I'm sure you're able to observe the deadline. At this time tomorrow morning, they will have begun working. Right at this time, we will have caught the thief. By 2024, I will have lived in Madrid for 5 years. Simple, isn't it? So deadlines, I'm sure you're able to observe. See, why am I focusing it again and again? Because at times students do get confused between where do we use simple future and future perfect tense. So we have answered the question in this video, and here that brings us to the end of the discussion. There's a quick homework. Ensure that you solve the homework and you will definitely get the answers from our team. And also you can search us on Facebook. There's a group at Fundoo Class. There are daily free live classes for kids. You can also find us on Instagram. Tag us at Fundoo Class Live. Also, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, and the name of the YouTube channel is again Fundoo Class. Do follow and like us on our Facebook page at Fundoo Class. So there's so many ways that we can be connected, isn't it? Also, you can download our Fundoo Class mobile app. You can get it on Google Play or you can get it on App Store. Your choice, whatever phones you're using, you have the app for you, right? Also, it's very, very important that you continue learning, you continue revising, and you always progress ahead, right? So here, this brings us to the end of the session. I hope you really enjoyed watching it, and I hope you have really learned, you've made good notes, you enjoyed solving the exercise. Please help us spread the word, take good care of yourself, work very, very hard, and make yourself proud. All the best.